Привет! Мы сегодня вышли погулять, и я бы хотела вот сейчас рассказать вам немножко о том, что мы недавно ходили с нашей группой, с которой мы изучаем английский язык, в Музей Прав Человека. В этот же день мы также посетили церемонию получения гражданства, и я снимала видео. Так что наслаждайтесь видео, мне надеюсь, вам понравится. Мне, например, Музей Прав Человека очень сильно понравился. Там безумно интересная и очень красивая архитектура. И гид понравился великолепный. Вот, так что наслаждайтесь просмотром видео. Пока-пока. Отвык немножко, но ничего, он справляется. Вот мы идем, гуляем. Сейчас лужи, все тает. Немножко пока некрасиво. Еще один дом, у кого все еще Новый год. А мы тут все катаемся. Какие шарики красивые развесили. Огромные. Я надеюсь, их не отсвечивает и видно. Давай, давай, набирай скорость, легче ж будет. Такой домик красивый. И вот тоже. Эти домики, они дешевенькие, ну не знаю, мне так тоже они очень нравятся. Очень уютненький район, хотя он считается дешевенький. И в то же время очень спокойный. Вот тут никогда никого такого подозрительного не видели мы. Вон там сейчас будет вообще красивый у них сад в китайском стиле. Сейчас подъедем, я покажу тут сад. Сейчас, конечно, вот снег, плохо видно, а вообще там очень красиво. А вот подходим к хозяину углового участка. У него получается огромный фронт-ярд. Кустов много.
But it's really important to talk about what everyone. Congratulations. We're just attending. No. Oh, just attending. Yeah. Okay. One day.
Yeah. How many more times than others? We need 3 years.
It's a bit of a more. 23 or 3? Let's hope it's closer to 3. So you're all in Canada now, you're becoming Canadians, but where? One day. One day. Oh, you're going out. All right. So where are some of the places that you're from? So I have a question for all of you. It's a really hard question. What are human rights?
Think about everyone.
Yeah, respect for everyone, thinking about other people. It's a really good answer. I get a lot of people who give me a lot of different answers. So some people say respect, some people say freedom, some people give me more specific things like food and water, housing, clothes, things like that, education, the right to play, things like that. So there are a lot of different answers. And the reason I ask is because, well, it's all based on perspective, right? It's all based on the culture that you come from and what you believe. So throughout this museum, like I said, I'm not going to tell you what human rights are. I'm going to show you a lot of things, and at the end I'll ask you what are human rights again, and see if your answer is different maybe than what you came in here thinking. So this gallery is to show people that, because a lot of people come here and they don't really know what this museum's about. You know, Human Rights Museum, that can be a lot of different things, right? So this gallery really shows that it's all about perspective. So first we have here, it's called the Immersive Multimedia Experience. But what it is 6 videos by different Canadians who are answering the question, what are human rights? And they're talking about what rights are important to them. So there's someone talking about labor rights, the rights of the worker. From Gandhi to Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There's some more international manacles from slavery era United States, and some salt from Gandhi's march. So we don't have a lot of artifacts here. We're a museum of ideas, but the ones that we do have tend to be pretty intense. And then lastly, we have So there is a lot happening in this gallery. Before I talk about this gallery though, I want to tell you it's called Indigenous Perspectives. And so that talks about the Indigenous worldview and the Indigenous perspective on human rights. But I explained a little bit about the word Indigenous downstairs, right? So the Inuit, First Nations, and Métis. But amongst those 3 groups, there's not just one kind of First Nations, and one kind of Inuit, and one kind of Métis. There's a lot of different kinds of cultures in those groups. So when I use the word Indigenous, I'm talking about a lot of different people and a lot of different cultures. And it's really important to know that. It'd be like if I said, oh, all newcomers come from the same place or the same culture. And that's not fair, right? That's not right. So it's the same kind of idea. Or saying all Canadians are the same. We're not. So it's important to know that the word Indigenous includes a lot of different people. And to that, we have a lot that speaks to that. Can anyone guess why we have wooden floors? And why we have a window? And a balcony? Because I can tell you, this is the only gallery that has those things. It's because a relationship with nature and a responsibility with nature is really, really important in the Indigenous worldview. More so than it is in the view that most people are more familiar with. That responsibility is really, really important. And so wood is more alive than concrete. Right? And here we can have a relationship with nature. We can go outside if we want and experience nature directly and think about the things that we're learning and that we're hearing about. TV? Yeah. A few times. Good answer. Anyone else? You don't have to be shy. I had a little boy tell me it looked like a piece of bacon. So there's a lot of different answers. Fire? Yeah, that's an important one. Water, also important.
Tree.
A tree? Yeah. Blanket? You're absolutely correct. So Rebecca Belmore made this. She is an Anishinaabe woman, which is one of the cultures in Manitoba. She made this at a place called Beachy Commons, which is downtown, and she made it here. It's 10,000 hand-pressed clay beads made from Red River clay. And when she designed it, she had a blanket in mind. Does anyone know any of the history of blankets in Canada with Indigenous people? So we all like to think of blankets as really comfortable and safe, right? And secure. But there's also this thing called smallpox blankets in Canadian history. And so this is my interpretation of this piece. Smallpox blankets, Europeans took, and it's the same kind of beating. And that's actually the last piece that she'll ever be able to make. Her eyes aren't good enough to keep working. It's important that we keep it safe. Does anyone recognize those names?
Rooster Town. I've heard of Rooster Town.
Yeah, Rooster Town. That's the one I'm going to talk about. So does anyone know where Grant Park is in Winnipeg? Yeah? So for those of you who don't, it's not in our suburban sprawl, but it's not in our downtown. It's about halfway between. And Grant Park is where Rooster Town used to be. But Grant Park was made in 1963. So Rooster Town was destroyed in 1961 to make way for Grant Park. We didn't ask the permission of Métis to destroy that. You can come in and take a seat. So I was told that we want to learn a lot about Canada today. Well, this is a really important part of Canada.
Our people have always lived on what we call Turtle Island, made up of numerous nations rooted in ancestral lands throughout North America. Our journey is long, across many generations. This is our story.
One that will keep on growing. I love and honor all life. I love and understand Earth as a living being, directly connected to me. I need clean water to drink, a proper school to learn, a good roof over my head. I want to be safe. My grandmother has taught me to respect all life and to take only what I need.
Today we see emerging a new leadership, ready to face the challenges of tomorrow. My responsibility is to be part of this change. It takes courage to stand up for my human rights. I want to end poverty and hunger, provide shelter and prevent disease. I want the same access to healthcare and education as others have. My elders taught me that my duty is to protect our lands, our forests, and our rivers, to help create healthy communities.
I want you to remember our past and to see how our cultures have survived. You will determine our future, making sure our people will thrive.
We all deserve to have our basic human rights respected. To live honestly in a world where we can fish, hunt, and trap. Where we can grow food, harvest resources, and teach these skills to our children. Everything we do is interrelated and has an impact on the world. We are all in this together. We are connected.
Nature is our greatest teacher. In a forest, there are so many different trees, yet they can all coexist. Diversity is strength, and each contributes to the well-being of one another and to the goodness in the world, inspiring us all to unite. Nature's wisdom is revealed everywhere. Our journey does not end here. Many more generations will come.
We all have the right to a life of caring and kindness, of love and respect.
To live with courage and honesty.
In a society that is inclusive and just, where our indigenous rights and responsibilities are honored, and our traditional wisdom is recognized.
A life full of humility, based on truth, where all living things are respected.
Bitte kohti eega. At se pohti eega omine koeskuta te maatsi eega. Keitä on kavaaga mitte näin.
So we will talk more about
stories, we're all seeing
because a lot of kids don't even know they just live in this environment.
How you doing? How you doing? Good. Having fun?
You can sit. We've been going for about a half hour. You can rest your legs. Sit. Ideally somewhere where I can see you while we're talking. So closer to the middle. You're all doing well so far. Perfect. It's a really important part of this museum because it talks all about Canada, and it talks about a lot of different stories in Canada. No story is more important than any other. They're all just presented here for people to see and to engage with. So I'm going to talk about a few things in here. First, this theater behind you. We don't have time to watch the videos that are in there. But if you do have time to come back, please come back. It plays two videos. One is just kind of the human rights history of Canada, but because we're such a young nation, it talks a lot about immigration and refugees and how race and gender and racism and sexism play into immigration, who's allowed to come here, who's not, what kind of jobs those people were allowed to do. And it's more historic, but it's still a really important thing to think about today. Because, I mean, of course, we still have immigration, we still have refugees. I mean, you're all proof that we have immigration, but we also have, there's still a lot of sexism and racism in the world. So, amongst so many other different kinds of hate. And so it's really important to know the lessons from that video. The other video that it plays is all about Indian residential schools. Does everyone know what that is? What those are? Indian residential schools? So they're another really important and really sad part of Canadian history. Does anyone know what apartheid was? Apartheid in South Africa? That was based on our Indian residential school system and our Indian ethics. The Holocaust also had parts of it based on our Indian residential school system. That's St. Boniface. It's where our French folk are at. It's where they live. I went to school there. What a lot of people don't know about St. Boniface, about the Franco-Manitobans, French-speaking Manitobans, is that for a long time we were not allowed to teach our kids French. We were also not allowed to speak French in downtown Winnipeg. We also didn't have the same job opportunities. That's why there's a lot of tiny French towns around Winnipeg instead of in Winnipeg, because we couldn't afford to live in downtown Winnipeg. It's a lot more fair now, but for a long time that was a problem. And actually in Canada's history, the difference between a French Canadian and an English Canadian, a lot of people thought about it as a racial difference instead of a language difference. There's a lot of racism in that situation.
bear true allegiance to Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Canada, her heirs and successors, and that I will faithfully observe the laws of Canada and fulfill my duties as a Canadian citizen. Now, en français. Je jure. Please be seated. Mr. McCauley will now present the certificates of citizenship. As I call out your name, please There will be an opportunity for pictures with Mr. Macaulay and our special guests after the ceremony. After you receive the certificate, please proceed to the desk over there where you signed in order to sign the oath of citizenship form before returning to your seat. Thank you. The Danju family, Ranjit, Parwinder, and Karman. The Garcia family, Vivino, Arlene, John Arvin, and Arnie Grace. Canal family, Hong Nav, and Bishop.